2019 was one of the best years of my life. I was able to visit 19 different parks, including 9 parks I've never visited before. I was able to gather 86 new coaster credits, including coasters that have been on my bucket list for quite some time now. In this video, I will be going over all the different parks I was able to visit for the 2019 coaster season. Starting off in February, I visited Six Flags Magic Mountain, which was my childhood dream park. I wanted to visit since 4th grade. This park definitely exceeded my expectations and currently is my #1 park I ever visited. And as you will see in the video in a few seconds, I was ecstatic visiting this park for the first time. But here are some highlights from my trip. This legit feels like a dream right now. I've been dying to come here since 4th grade. Holy shit. April was a huge month for me. I did a massive road trip where I left my house at 1 in the morning, driving all the way to Busch Gardens Williamsburg, where I visited the park for 2 days. Busch Gardens Williamsburg, in my opinion, is the prettiest park I ever visited, and they did a great job with all the different countries. Here are some highlights from my 2-day visit to Busch Gardens. After departing from Williamsburg, I made my way to Doswell, Virginia to visit King's Dominion. The weather was rainy and the park ended up closing early, but I was able to get 4 rides on both Twisted Timbers and I-305, which were the main coasters I wanted to ride. But check out some highlights from my visit to King's Dominion. The next day, I made my way to Bowie, Maryland to end my road trip at Six Flags America, which was a brand new park for me. This was Six Flags America's opening day, and the park was basically deserted. I was able to get on everything I wanted to before making my way back up to New Jersey. Here are some highlights from my visit to Six Flags America. A few weeks after this road trip, I did another mini road trip to the New England area where my first stop was Six Flags New England. I got to ride Wicked Cyclone for the first time, which is currently my number one coaster. I also visited Six Flags New England for Fright Fest, which I will go over later in this video. But here are some highlights from my first trip of the season to Six Flags New England. On my way back from Six Flags New England, I stopped at another brand new park I'd never visited before, Lake Compounce. This was Lake Compounce's opening day, and I wasn't expecting much from this park, but I ended up having a lot of fun. It's a small park, but great for families. Phobia Fear Coaster was closed, unfortunately, but that's just an excuse for me to revisit the park. Boulder Dash was amazing and is one of my favorite wooden roller coasters. But here are some highlights from my first ever visit to Lake Compounce. The first park I visited in May was Hershey Park. I got to check out the construction for Chocolate Town. It sucked Sky Rush was closed, but I was still able to get on all the other rides. For those wondering, this is the main reason why I didn't include Sky Rush in my top 25, since it's been over a year since I wrote it. But here are some highlights from my visit to Hershey Park.
Hey guys, this is the main reason why I'm here, just for this sign. I'm good. He looks so good, I just want to eat him up.
My daddy's trying to bite in the photo. How was your ride, Mike?
That was alright. I've had better inverts in my life.
A week after Hershey Park, I visited Dorney Park for my first visit of the season. I went to Dorney Park in October as well to check out Halloween Haunt, which I will go over later in this video. The park was empty and I was able to get on everything multiple times. But here are some highlights from my visit to Dorney Park. At the end of May, I visited another brand new park, Six Flags Over Georgia. I was able to spend 3 days here. Now, this park definitely exceeded my expectations, and I was blown away with the atmosphere and all the coasters. My hotel was a 2-minute walk from the park, and I definitely had more fun than I thought I was going to have. This is my second favorite Six Flags park I visited. Here are some highlights from my trip to Six Flags Over Georgia. Now, June was an off month for me, and I only visited Great Adventure, which is my home park. And I'm not going to be talking about Great Adventure much in this video, since I go there all the time, which you guys probably already know if you follow my channel. In July, I visited Knoebels, and I stayed at the campground for 2 nights. This park is amazing, and I love how it has free admission to enter, and you can either pay per ride or buy an all-day wristband, which I did. I rode Phoenix 43 times in 2 days, including one night where I rode it 18 times in a row. But here are some highlights from my visit to Knoebels.
If you come to Knoebels, get a pizza roll from this place. You will thank me later. Yes! I cannot believe I got that shot. Oh my god. Good job. Guys, this is absolutely insane. 10 rides in a row. Phoenix at night. This shit is nuts.
In the middle of July, I visited another new park, Carowinds. I got to ride one of my bucket list coasters, Fury 325. I spent 2 days at the park and I really enjoyed my time there. My favorite coaster at the park surprisingly ended up being Copperhead Strike. I like Copperhead Strike better than Fury because I love inversions, hang time, air time, and launches. Even though Copperhead Strike's launches weren't too powerful, I got so much air time and it was mainly ejector, and the hang time you get on the loops in the JoJo roll are amazing. But here are some highlights from my visit to Carowinds. In August, I made my way down to Wildwood, New Jersey to check out another new park, Morey's Piers. I guess it's technically not a park since it's on the boardwalk, but I'm going to consider it a park. Maury's Piers consists of 3 boardwalk piers where each pier provides many different rides. When I visited, I was sick as a dog, but that didn't stop me from enjoying my time. But here are some highlights from my visit to Maury's Piers.
That's the other pier, and I don't think I was ever so excited to ride an SLC before. Finally, about that time. I wanted to go on this since I was a kid.
On my way back from Wildwood, I stopped in Ocean City to check out another place I never visited before, Playland's Castaway Cove, which is right off the boardwalk. The only reason I visited was to ride Galeforce, and this coaster was actually a lot of fun, and you get 2 cycles. It's a little pricey, but if you've never been on it before, it's definitely worth the $10. In October, I got to visit another new park, Six Flags Over Texas, where I was able to spend 3 days there. I was able to experience what their Fright Fest had to offer, and let me tell you, it's a lot better than Great Adventures Fright Fest. My most anticipated coaster was the new Texas Giant, but I ended up liking Mr. Freeze much better. My biggest surprise was how much I enjoyed Titan, and it's definitely better than Goliath at Magic Mountain. But here are some highlights from my visit to Six Flags Over Texas. Also in October, I was able to visit another new park, which actually just opened up at the American Dream Mall, Nickelodeon Universe. Now everything at this park wasn't open, but I was able to get 5 rides on Shellraiser and 2 rides on Nickelodeon Slime Streak? Whatever it's called. But anyway, they actually did a really great job with all the theming there, and I actually love how the ropes course is included with the mission. And they actually gave me a free pass to come back, so I definitely will be visiting again once all the rides are open. But here are some highlights from my visit. In December, I visited Busch Gardens, Tampa, and I was able to experience Christmas Town. Now, this event by far was the prettiest showcase I've ever witnessed. They did a great job with all the lights throughout the park, and I think they mentioned they had about 30,000 miles worth of lights throughout the entire park. The coasters there are unbelievable, and I actually bought a season pass, so I definitely will be visiting next October to check out their Halloween event and of course ride Iron Gwazi. I also visited Casino Pier in Seaside to ride Hydrus, and I also checked out Jenks Amusement Park, which is right off the boardwalk in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. There's not much to really say about these boardwalk parks, and I lived in New Jersey my entire life, so I visited many times prior. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, I got to check out Dorney Park's Halloween Haunt, which was a lot of fun. Everyone working there did an awesome job, and I love how all the haunted mazes are included with the mission, which I unfortunately did not have the chance to do. I really enjoyed the Lair Scare Zone and the Monster Truck Jam they had going on there as well. I also visited Six Flags New England for their Fright Fest. I loved the decorations, and I thought that they did a better job than Great Adventure, but one thing New England was lacking was their scare actors, which I think Great Adventure did have more. But overall, all the Fright Fest events I attended were awesome. As you see from my videos, Holiday in the Park was amazing this year at Great Adventure. I love how most of the coasters are open, and they did a great job with all the lights throughout the park. Also, big shout out to everyone in Frost. That show blew me away, and I hope Great Adventure keeps putting shows like this out there. 2019 was definitely a great year for me, and I can't wait to see what 2020 has in store. I hope all you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you all who follow my channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, check it out, because I have a lot of content coming next year in 2020. Like always, thanks for watching, and peace out.